Hi there folks, and welcome into the Truck King YouTube channel. Today we have a towing test planned using this. This is the all-new 2025 Toyota 4Runner Limited. And we got to go pick up a side-by-side, so we're going to see exactly how this SUV tows. In this video, I'll talk you through how it handles all the towing features, and maybe most importantly, what the fuel economy is while towing, so make sure you stay tuned. Okay folks, time to hook up the trailer. So we'll drop in our B&W hitch. And there's a few things I want to talk about when it comes to towing with the 4Runner. The first thing you need to know is that you need a longer kingpin to fit in this hitch. So this is a standard length kingpin right here, and that's the length that you need. You can see it's not much longer, but that is important because if you don't have that, it's not going to fit through here. And the reason is, this hitch has like an extra wall on it, almost like an extra layer of reinforcement. And because of that, it just makes it that much wider. So yes, you need yourself a long kingpin. And then today, on our 4Runner Limited gas model, we do not have a trailer brake controller. Let me see if I can get this pin in here. I'm struggling. There we go. So, no trailer brake controller on this model, and actually here in Canada, trailer brake controllers for the 4Runner are only available on the hybrid models. That decision makes zero sense to me. The integrated brake controller should be available across the range, especially because every single 4Runner can tow 6,000 pounds. So yeah, that's a very strange decision, Toyota. Give us the brake controller. For now though, we're gonna use this. This is our Kurt Echo wireless brake controller. It's operated using Bluetooth and an app on your phone. So you simply take it, plug it into your vehicle, and then we will plug our trailer connection into right there, and then I'll make sure I have trailer brakes. So good thing we have that today. But yeah, that's weird, Toyota. You should have a brake controller. Now, finally, right before we hook up, one last thing we gotta check. That is the payload number, because I already told you 6,000 pounds of towing. And for payload, just 1,160 pounds, which is just okay. Now let's back into the trailer and I can show you the camera system. So throw it in reverse. There's your first view, the rear and the top down, but there's a lot of camera views here. That's your nose camera, looking down the sides of your vehicles forward, and then you can also zoom in. That's looking down the sides rearwards, and you can punch in left or right depending on what you want to see. Plus there's a zoom there. At any time too, you can get rid of that top-down view to give yourself a wider view. Then there's this super cool 3D view that shows your vehicle in 3D. You can also zoom in on different corners of it. This is not great for hooking up a trailer. This is great for parking though. And then you have different types of predictive guidelines over here that you can turn on and off depending on what you're doing. And then we also get the trailer hitch guideline, which is nice. And then one neat feature is this rear camera also has its own sprayer. So you hit that button and that's going to spray your rear backup camera and keep it clean. And that's actually operated along with the sprayer for your rear glass. So anytime you're cleaning your rear windshield, it's going to clean your rear camera. I'm going to shut those off because I don't want to hear it beeping at me. And bingo! Just like that. So yeah, pretty nice camera suite here on the 4Runner. Okay, time to roll out. We're gonna start by resetting our fuel economy to make sure we can track this whole trip. So we are leaving with an empty flat deck, but still I wanna know what we got for the whole day. So we go over here to fuel economy and we zero that out. And now separately, we will have to go up into trip A and reset trip A. I don't like that Toyota doesn't offer you a fuel economy rating based on one of these trips. Every other brand does that, but Toyota just doesn't, so they're separate. Anyways, fuel economy is reset. Now we can hit the road and we will report back at the end of this day how far we went and how much gas we burned. And now we have our cargo, folks. This is the 2025 Honda Pioneer 1005 Trail Special Edition. And just in case you didn't know, we have another YouTube channel called TK Power Sports where we review side-by-sides, ATVs, and watercraft. So make sure you go check out our other channel right now. If you want to learn more about this Honda, you're going to see lots of videos over there about it. But yeah, in this video, what we really care about is how much does this Honda weigh? And the answer is a little bit over 1,900 pounds. Our trailer here is about 2,000 pounds. So our whole rig is just shy of 4,000 pounds. So we're gonna be putting this 4Runner to the test. Let's hit the road and see how it does. Now folks, here we are behind the wheel, time to feel the power. So I've got it in tow haul mode, gonna floor it, let's feel it. So with the trailer on, I'd say the power feels just okay. It certainly doesn't feel like it's super quick off the line, and it's very typical turbocharged power, so that initial push really wasn't that strong. Once the turbo spooled up though, after a beat, the power really comes on, and yeah, it felt really good in first, and then sort of second, and especially in the third, it felt like it dropped off a bit. So I'd say the power is just okay. Now of course, this is just the gas powertrain, so it's a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. Output here is 278 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. And if towing was something you'd be doing regularly and you wanted to feel like you had a little more control over a heavy load, you might want to think about stepping up to the hybrid. That's one of the advantages of that hybrid, is you're getting more power, but you're also getting that immediate torque, so it'll push you off the line a little bit more. So I wouldn't say this engine is bad for towing, but I would say if that's one of your focuses with the 4Runner, you'd probably feel a bit better having that extra torque out of the hybrid. Now, this power is also sent through an 8-speed automatic, and the transmission has felt fine. I like tow haul mode here. I've been running in tow haul mode ever since we've put the trailer on, and it does feel like the shifts really hold into the high RPMs. The other thing I like to see is when you're braking, you get some fairly aggressive downshifts to help you control that load. So yeah, nice to see tow haul mode working properly, because that's exactly what tow haul mode should do. So the other system I want to talk about here in this Limited is the adaptive variable suspension. So yes, essentially we have adaptive dampers that can change their damping force on the fly. Now, I haven't felt a big difference between comfort and tow haul mode. In fact, they might be the exact same. The difference really presents itself when you put this into Sport, and then especially into Sport S Plus. In those modes, you can really feel the front end of the 4Runner tighten up. There's less body roll. It's much more willing to dive into a corner. And then when you put it in Comfort, just like tow haul, it gets a little softer. It's a little more body roll going down the road, but it does eat up the road underneath us quite well. The ride has been comfortable, not too firm, but you can firm it up if you want it. So I'm always a fan of adaptive suspension, because you can make it work for you based on whatever you prefer and whatever situation you are in. And I would just say overall, the towing experience here has been pretty effortless. I don't feel like I'm working too hard at the wheel to keep this thing going straight. I don't think it wanders really at all. I've been driving the 4Runner all week empty, and it feels pretty much the exact same empty as it did loaded, or as it does loaded. Now I feel the trailer back there. I can feel the weight on the rear suspension. Again, coming up and over bumps, I get a little bit of that bounce out of the rear, but for the most part, it's well controlled. So this is also, something you have to keep in mind. Max tow rating here is 6,000 pounds. We're towing about 4,000 pounds. That probably is the sweet spot for a vehicle like this. maybe pushing up to 5,000 pounds. I probably wouldn't want to go much more than that. And then the other part of the conversation that we always have to have is that not all trailers are created equally. With a flat deck and a side-by-side, there's not a ton of air resistance back there, so it's not like I'm getting a lot of aerodynamic drag. If that was a travel trailer, let's say, yeah, I might not want to go too much past 4,000 pounds, because with something like a high-walled travel trailer, you do get that aerodynamic drag, especially on a windy day. You're fighting back and forth. So yeah, with a trailer like this, probably 5,000 pounds. With something that has the high walls, maybe a little bit less. And a big part of the equation with the vehicle like the 4Runner is the wheelbase. The wheelbase here is right at 112 inches, just a little bit over. And that's not that long. To give you context, the majority of our half-ton trucks these days that have crew cabs and even the short bed, the wheelbases there are generally in the 140 to 150 inch range. So yes, this is a pretty short wheelbase to feel super secure while towing, and that's going to dictate sort of what kind of trailer you want to tow and how that reacts behind you. And another point I feel like this all wraps back around to is the simple fact that I don't have an integrated trailer brake controller, and I have to complain about it again because it just seems like the wrong decision to me. Why would it only be available in the hybrid models? Even I admitted off the top that yes, I would get the hybrid if I wanted to tow all the time, but what if you are only towing 3-4 times a year or twice a year? That means you shouldn't feel secure, you shouldn't get trailer brakes. I don't get that decision by Toyota at all, but yeah, if you don't have the brake controller, you're gonna have to plan ahead and get something like I have with the Bluetooth controller, or get an aftermarket unit installed in your rig, because you definitely want the trailer brakes. The braking feels okay, but with something this heavy, even at 4,000 pounds, you definitely want the trailer brakes working. We did do some highway driving as part of our pickup today. Not a ton on the highway, but a decent amount. And what I noticed out there has to do with the adaptive cruise control. So this vehicle does have adaptive cruise, it does have lane keep assist. And what I like to see is that with adaptive cruise control, once I added the trailer on, the gap becomes larger. I had it set at its closest possible gap, and I noticed right away that, oh my gosh, this gap feels twice the length as it normally does when I'm unloaded, and that's to compensate for the trailer, and I think that is a smart decision. When Adaptive Cruise first came out, I mean, a decade ago, I remember asking that exact question, hey, does it compensate for the trailer? And the answer was a very simple, no, it'll just keep the gap that you asked for regardless of whether you're towing. But that's not how a human would drive. If I have a trailer on, I'm leaving a larger gap because I know it's going to take me longer to stop, and that's what the computer system should do as well, and that's what is happening here in the Toyota. So that gives me more confidence to use a system like Adaptive Cruise while I'm driving on the highway. One other bit of trailering tech I have to mention is blind spot monitoring that works with the trailer. So the 4Runner here actually measures the length of your trailer automatically. It says that ours is about 8 meters, which is correct. And then when a vehicle is passing you, when they're next to your trailer, the blind spot lights will come on in your mirrors, and it will give you an alert if you put your signal on when someone is next to your trailer. That's helpful technology, and it's going to make you safer on the road. And using it all day today, it worked quite well. Moving off towing for just a moment, let me comment on the interior of this Limited. It's quite nice. Toyota is using great materials in here. We get this nice leather, and yeah, it feels familiar because I'm so used to the Tacoma now, and this is exactly the same. So we have the larger infotainment screen, fully digital gauge cluster, our JBL audio system with its removable Bluetooth speaker. All of those features are here, and it does come across, I don't want to call it a luxury vehicle, but it does come across like a more luxurious vehicle than what you're going to find in your base 4Runner. So it's a pretty nice sort of step up the trim walk, and you get up here to the top end, and it feels quite nice inside. The seats have been really comfortable as well, and I fit really well up here. That wasn't always such an issue for the 4Runner as it was in the Tacoma, but with this new gen 4Runner, yeah, I definitely fit and am more comfortable in this front seat. And I know the old 4Runner, I mean, we almost have to stop comparing this new one to the old one, but I have to do it one last time, just in so much to say that the old 4Runner never had a great towing experience. You know, I pulled a lot of trailers with that thing, and it was sort of a roly-poly boat. You had lots of body roll, lots of body motion. It never felt tight or controlled. This one absolutely fits all of those descriptions, tight and controlled. And so I'm also happy to see, just based on what the 4Runner used to be, that this one is towing and delivering such a nice drive experience. And that goes for when it's unloaded as well. Tight and controlled definitely are good words for it. Going for the limited model means you're not getting the most off-road focused 4Runner in the lineup, but this is still a 4Runner, so it still has those sort of 4x4 roots to live up to. And to that end, the limited model actually gets full-time four-wheel drive. So most 4Runners get part-time, meaning you can switch between two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. That's not the case here. This is full-time four-wheel drive. The choice you have is whether or not you want to lock the center differential. So you can put it into H4L, and that means your center diff is locked, splitting power 50-50 front and rear. But no, you don't get a rear locker in this model. You still do get a transfer case too, so you can put it down into 4 low. And I think the idea there is this is truly the set it and forget it model, whether you're driving on a wet day or in the snow or anything like that. It's full-time four-wheel drive. There's no reaction time necessary from the system. You're always going to be getting that sure-footed four-wheel drive feeling. Now, let me hit you with the price, because that's always such an important part of any review, of course. So going for this limited here in Canada as it sits, you're talking about $71,000 Canadian. And of course, then you can still step up to the hybrid powertrain and those off-road models like the Pro or the Trail Hunter. So yes, this is not even the most expensive 4Runner. So yeah, folks, we're almost back to the yard now. Once we pull in, we'll offload this Honda Pioneer, and then I'll tell you about the fuel economy. And I can tell you, just to tease you a little bit, it's not looking great. And one of the reasons for that is because this is a small engine, and a small turbo engine, when it's towing, generally is not very efficient. There is actually a gauge over here that shows me how much the turbocharger is being used, and it's basically always being used at least a little bit, even when I'm just cruising out here at a set speed. So yes, small turbo engine means when you're working it hard, it's going to swallow a lot of fuel. So yeah, with that in mind, let's get there now, and then I'll let you know exactly what that fuel economy number was. So, we did a total of 275.3 kilometers. And I would say it was mixed driving. The majority of it was spent on secondary highways around 80 to 90 kilometers an hour. We did have one stretch of highway probably doing closer to 110 kilometers an hour. And then a couple sort of small towns and stuff where we did have to slow right down, and we were filming, so some stop starts for filming. So, but I would still say overall we were on the move most of the time, between 80 and 90 kilometers per hour. And let me get back to my fuel economy here. And we managed 16.7 liters per 100 kilometers, which is right around 14 miles per gallon. And I guess I should say now that driving empty, I've been getting around 12 liters per 100 kilometers. So yeah, not a huge jump, but just considering the nature of this trailer, I still feel like it's a little thirstier than I expected it to be. But yeah, 16.7 liters per 100 is what we managed here in the gas-powered 4Runner. Well, folks, we have come to the end of this one. Now, I have to say that the towing experience with this new generation 4Runner is way better than with the last gen. Now, there's still a couple strange decisions here, like using that different hitch back there that requires the longer pin. The light hookups are still buried up under the bumper. And then, of course, I complained about it a lot, but for the last time, Toyota, please give us a trailer brake controller in every single trim of 4Runner. But outside of that stuff, this is a solid tow rig, and I think for comparing it to the Jeep Wrangler and the Ford Bronco, this, I can confidently say, is now the best towing vehicle of those three. But now, of course, I want to hear from you, so drop in the comments, let me know what you think of this 4Runner. As always, while you're down there, hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member. Oh, and don't forget to check out TK Power Sports if you want to find out more about that Honda Pioneer. And yeah, make sure you come right back here to Truck King to see what we're testing next. See ya.